whispered madness to her child, the Anti-Monitor, driving him towards his revenge on his brother, the Monitor. A crisis on infant Earths is what he decided to grant, but her children were failures.
What's up, guys? It's Lumos Theromax. Hey, I've had some rather weird and interesting problems with my Larfleeze videos. It should be coming out rather soon. Just bear with me. I had to re-record the entire thing. It's been like super frustrating getting this thing across, but I promise it's going to be worth the wait down the road. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably just produce this bad boy, maybe one other video, just short and quick in between. But definitely something to look forward to say the least. But I was just hanging out doing my thing recently. I was watching a bunch of vids, and then I actually checked out good old Variant Comics, man. And if you guys know much about Variant Comics, obviously he's a pretty big YouTuber. He's got about 2.3 million subscribers, so obviously this guy's pretty good. Now, before we get any further, I'd like to preface that I don't hate this guy. I just wish there was some more specifics, because he says he's like such a big fan of the character. I wish that he could present a little bit more info, especially having such a big viewer base, obviously, because he doesn't give almost any context to any like specific event outside of what you would see just on like a panel or something like that. It's like when he did his research, instead of reading the stories, he just kind of like saw a panel and was like, oh damn, that's crazy. So yeah, that being said, I'm gonna do my best to make this as fast as possible and just kind of push my way through this entire 7.5 minute video without having an aneurysm again. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy the fuck out of that. So every time I have like a severe problem, I'll stop for you guys. But before we go any further, there's this new game out. It's called Raid Shadowlet. No, I'm just kidding, dude. But definitely check out the coffee shop content creators down low. Those guys are awesome, man. Definitely check out their content. I know No Luck just recently hit, or he's close to like 500 subscribers. Definitely go help him out with that 500 plus if he's not there already. And that being said, let's get started with the video. Once again, no hate specifically towards Variants. I just want him to do more, like I have a greater wealth of research and give more contextual shit whenever he slams out one of these really cool how powerful videos. And I'll give you an idea of what I think they should be like whenever this Larfleeze video drops, okay? So let's start off and see what he's got for us here. Okay, there's so many things wrong up into this point, or at least contextually missing. Okay, so he's a planner. He's a savage planner. He could do all this shit, man. He's one of the most ruthless, intelligent minds in all of DC, but gives zero context as to why. Like, what does that mean? Everyone's a fucking killer planner in DC if you're given enough time. Look at fucking Batman, dude. He's like the prep god. But the difference is between Batman and Sinestro is, if you're a huge fan of Batman, you could give, like, Batman, like, smart-ass feats. Like Batman, for example, walking up the dark side and shooting him with a gun, a literal gun that is like the conceptual or with a bullet that is like the conceptual idea of a bullet, like the platonic idea of a bullet. So like, what you gonna do? Okay, now as a big Sinestro fan, here's a few things you could like just throw out there, like just super easy. He's clowned the Green Lantern Corps I don't know how many times through all of his fucking schemes and machinations. In Sinestro Corps War specifically, he styles on the entire DC universe, cons the Superboy Prime into his group, cons the Guardian, cons the Anti-Monitor into being the guardian of his group, and by himself single-handedly almost takes over not only just our universe, but he was going to destroy Earth, which is a multiversal nexus to the entire New 52 at that point in time. So technically, he was the biggest threat to the multiverse the New 52 had ever seen, or not New 52, like the post-crisis had been like messing with. So, like, oof. Like, you could have given any of that. You could have given his time where he manages to single-handedly roll up on his core and like style on all of them at once because he trained them all, like knew all of their shit. There's a time where he rolled up on Kyle Rayner when he wielded Ion, and Ion itself is a conceptual entity, like it's like the opposite of Parallax, and we'll get to that here in a bit, obviously. And he just like ripped it out of him, but the only reason he could do that was because he planned so well. He destroyed Kyle's willpower by destroying his mom first, destroying the most powerful willpower in the universe, like bit by bit. He's like a strategic mastermind. And now, to double down, he says, Sinestro is one of the most intelligent people whenever it comes to the rings, besides Raimi, the first Guardian. Half true. Like, Rami did kind of design the Green Lantern rings. Kind of. Because he just destroyed Volthoom's travel lantern. But, like, take it as you will, dude. You got me. The difference between him and Sinestro is Sinestro knows how they work, so I guess he's kind of got the opposite side of that, where he just kind of was along once they were there. He studied them, mastered them, so much so he could replicate them using a completely different emotion, but still have a lot of the same powers and hacks as well. So I don't know, like, all Guardians are wildly intelligent. I wouldn't downplay that in one bit. I mean, obviously they created a lot of really wacky technology, including like Krona's Gauntlet, for example. But Sinestro kind of takes it a step further in terms of what he does. Was he as unique, having created the first one? Oh, not necessarily, but he did create the first one, like, he did create his own core out of that, I guess, more so than anything. So take that as you will. I think he's taken it a lot further than like Raimi ever has. The only thing like Rami has ever really done was create the Phantom Lantern ring and then break down like Volthoom shit. And it's like, okay. They're kind of comparable, I would say. Phantom Lantern ring was dope. Wrong. Any fan of Sinestro would never in a million years just say they're evil Green Lanterns, because that is not Sinestro's goal whatsoever. Now, they are based in fear, so from like your average perception of fear is a negative thing when it's utilized on other people. That's a fair interpretation, but Sinestro's goals can be perceived as villainy, but also have good like agendas too. He just hates chaos and destruction. He just wants order. Now, it does get a little bit blurry in terms of how far he's willing to take that. That's fair. But especially like right now in continuity of Green Lantern, dude, without there being any sort of like any form of order within the universe, dude, shit goes so bad so fast. And Sinestro saw that and just saw the weaknesses of what the core offered, and he wanted to offer up something different but something better. And yes, there are negatives to that. He does take it a little far, but at the same time, you've got to consider that it's not all negative or evil intentions by any means, because he's, especially in the last 20 years, been just as much of a hero, having saved the entire verse from the threat of the paling, but then also, you know, on the flip side, threatening the multiverse, like in Sinestro Core War. He had like an arc where he definitely peaked at villain, or like his villainy peaked, like probably Sinestro Core War, and then after that, I think he definitely weaned, or like was pulled into more of an anti-heroic role by like Jeff Johns, and it's kind of stayed there, kind of. Now I'm sure you guys are wrong, slamming the buzzer, man. Wrong on that shit too. No, Sinestro did not install safety features inside of the rings to keep anybody from betraying him. No, he just rolled up. Like, don't get me wrong, dude, Superman with the power ring would be a fucking nightmare. But he rolled up on the same guys, like, in the same ranges. I think this is the sun, so it's not technically as beefy. He's not as beefy as, like, classic Mongol. But still at the same time, the guy can fight Superman and be somewhere in the same league. But you give him a power ring on top of that, that's wacky. Sinestro did throw hands with him. He just got close enough. He just he hacked into the rings and then just controlled them to kill him, because he's so smart with those damn rings. He can do that, and since he designed them, he knew them so fucking well, he could just casually roll through them. They weren't fail safes. He was just that talented. They beat the shit out of him. True. Save the fuck out of Prep Batman too. But if that doesn't do it for you, Sinestro once destroyed multiple spaceships with his power ring. Multiple spaceships? Holy shit! No way! Sinestro destroying spaceships? Talking to one of his core members. You know how the saying goes, I gave it 110% just to really show you gave it your that's like 1/3 of half true. He didn't like just charge his ring. Like, Lantern can't just charge his ring. He literally devoured Parallax. Like, the emotional entity of fear, he ate it. And then just like kind of became it, and as a result of that, his new power level was like 1,000%. especially with the context of what was going on in the moment in Rebirth. He essentially had been tampering with this idea called the Fear Engine, and the Fear Engine amped all yellow rings on top of that. So he kind of like had this double buff of both consuming an emotional entity as well as having this thing that affected like fear on a cosmic scale, like amped fear on a cosmic scale. Nuclear blast. Okay, like think about the downplay here. Think about, okay, Firestorm. This guy can transmute anything. To give you an idea, when Firestorm was a Black Lantern, he was soloing entire teams of dudes. He could casually recreate an entire Black Lantern Justice League out of nowhere because he could just completely control matter. His what the heck is it called? The fusion matrix that he has, the Firestorm matrix that he has, is like so fucked up, dude. It trapped the whole Justice League in it, and nobody could get out, and it was threatening to kill them all. So to say that this is like a new, and that was the normal one, like that was like the normal Firestorm. This is the evil version of Firestorm, and he gets forcefully blown up in the face of Sinestro and all these other goons here with Lex Luthor, and he just like throws up a barrier and tanks the whole fucking thing. Like, it's insane, but to like relegate that down to a nuclear blast is like hilarious. Like I don't understand how you could like perceive it that way. True. He beat the shit out of them. Wait a minute, hold up. If we're talking about shit Sinestro's done with his hands, bro, I give you better shit than that. Like, no fucking problem whatsoever, okay? Sinestro with his hand, well, my bad. I guess not with his hands to be, actually, with his hands, he fought both Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner. He was like fucking throwing them from buildings and shit, and getting thrown from buildings and shit. Entire skyscrapers and landing into other skyscrapers. And he was like flipping them around and kicking the shit out of them. I remember one time in Sinestro Core War, he literally gets tackled from one building to another building across the street. But when he lands through the window in that building, he just flips Hal above him. Keep in mind, this is no ring Sinestro. He just flips him into a wall behind him and one-shots him. And Kyle's there, and Hal's there. He winds up starting to throw hands with him. But there's also the time where, like, I don't know, he takes a random piece of debris and beats the same Krona who's defeating Hal Jordan. This Krona has, like, I think it's 7 emotional entities with him, not including the white, the entity of life. Like, what? How does that even work? But this version of Lobo he's talking about is fucked too. Superman!
And being the badass that he is, controlling the Sinestro Plan, that's right, he defeated the greatest Green Lantern.
What? Sinestro defeated Hal Jordan? Damn, if only we could see it. It's true. He did like just style all over him in that minute. And given how like how scales much harder like after this point. But like either way, I mean, he rolled on him. But something I think that not all like this guy, or my bad, that sounds negative. Like Sinestro doesn't traditionally just lose 1v1s like against Hal Jordan. That's not typically how it works. Sinestro doesn't typically roll out for a 1v1 with people. No. Typically, what he does is he sets up a situation that's designed to never fail. Think back to what he said at the beginning of the video. At the beginning of this fucking video, he said he was a thinker. He destroys people. So he'll set up a series of plans that threatens the entire multiverse, or in our case, a lot of times, our specific verse, and as a result, the multiverse. And you have to deal with all of that shit. And it just so happens at the end of all that shit, Sinestro will be the guy standing in your way. And a lot of times it's not just Hal who has to show up to put him down. It's the whole Justice League, because he's packing the Anti-Monitor, or fucking Superboy Prime or some wacky shit. Or like it's Kyle and Hal at the end of the day who wind up fighting. Or it's like a team of Lanterns who go to stop Sinestro. Like it's a lot more difficult than just it's always Hal and Sinestro. Because I mean, with the Lanterns and then the universe context, there's so much other shit going on. So to dilute it down and just be like, oh my god, he beat Hal. It's like, dude, he styles on Hal a lot. I mean, he's still educating him when he gets his Green Lantern ring back in the New 52. He's still showing him how to do shit. And Hal's like still not quite where Sinestro's at in terms of like the knowledge he has. That's his dangerous shit, is his knowledge.
Then we have the time that the Guardians of the Universe, all the
Like, okay, you just said they were like nearly omnipotent, dude. Like, well, what is the scaling there? I don't have any context to how powerful these guys are. You just said like, dude, they're like really killing them. It's like crazy powerful. On top of that, you didn't even show the actual scan where he killed him. You showed the flashback scan on the Sinestro series. Like, well, wait a minute. If you want to see him murdering all those fucking dudes, it's one of the biggest pinup fucking scenes you could get from the end of the Jeff Johns run, dude. And, I mean, he literally slaughters the entire cast of these dudes. Like, it's super simple, super easy shit. But like, I don't know, dude. I wish I wish he could have provided any. Hold up, there was also a little bit more I had to touch up on too here. The cosmic powers. This is the story where you could literally show him kill them all. He already gave a fee for this. He's already tamed Parallax. Like he's giving all these feats, but they're like coming from random points in history. But then like he shows a feat that's so fucking badass, and then like 2 feats later he shows a feat that's not as comparable to the feat 2 feats ago. Like what? He devoured Parallax earlier. Like he already controlled him. He bound Parallax to his soul first, and then to New Korrigar, the fucking planet, so it couldn't leave. And then later on, he unbinds it from Korrigar, the planet, and reattaches it to himself, and then devours it. Bro, he's like bullying Parallax in that prior story. So like, why would coming back a story arc where he just gets the ability to like control it or like quote unquote have mastered it? Like that makes no sense to me. Fear itself. What does that scale to? A small list.
But just like that, we want to know what
it was just kind of moments. That wasn't really. I don't know. I don't even know how powerful like Sinestro is after this. I know he's like. I think so for Guardians he said like cosmic powers, near omnipotent. So he like each one he said was like near omnipotent. So I guess he's like greater than a collective of near omnipotent beings. Because I think that's the only scaling we got, and that's like the most vague scaling I've fucking heard of. So like what? I don't know. It just it triggers me. Once again, I hate to be negative. It's all, this entire video sounds like super negative. Don't take it as entirely negative, man. Just consider like I don't want any hate going towards him. I just like, dude, come on, you're lowballing my boy so hard, dude. This shit hurts. Like, man, he didn't have Sinestro fighting new gods in here, even though he referenced the comics that it happened in. He didn't have him fighting Life Equation Highfather in here. He doesn't win, but like he's shit talking and like tanking attacks from Life Equation Highfather. Keep in mind, Highfather himself is like the equal to Darkseid, and Darkseid's always after the anti-Life Equation. Well, like Highfather got his version of that, and Sinestro was tanking that. That would have been a great one to fucking have. For like intelligence feats or like strategic feats, he outplayed all of the new gods. Like, damn. Like, there's so much shit. He never gave once how powerful Parallax was. It would have been cool if he could have defined how Parallax, like how fucking absurd somebody who hasn't mastered Parallax is. So for example, like, way back in the day when Parallax possessed Hal Jordan, you know, he became a bigger threat than the Anti-Monitor. Imagine if he mastered that power. Damn, that'd have been fucking crazy. So yeah, I don't know, boys. I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to switch things up and give some critiques to other people out there. I'm sure I'll have like a billion critiques to mine at some point, but I think critiquing other people to make their content better is more positive than negative. I don't want people just going and shit posting or whatever the case may be. But anyone can be better, and here's my way to help the Lantern community. One thing I do want to say is, regardless of my frustrations for everything here, I do appreciate Variant Comics for obviously putting lanterns in some shape, putting lanterns in some form of like spotlight, doing some content on them. His video is almost like, I don't know, like I think it's a year or half year old, somewhere in there. Yeah, October of last year, almost a year old. So if you guys like this content, I mean, this one's just kind of a short, quick video, or like, I guess, update to kind of where I am at and why I haven't released like a hardcore scaling video in a while or something along those lines. But I figured I'd just do something fun real quick. That being said, guys, it was a blast hanging out. As I always say, check out the coffee shop content creators down low. Sorry for the low content video this time around. I thought I'd try something different and see what you guys thought of it. Later, Lantern.
To her child, the anti-monitor, driving him towards his revenge on his brother, the monitor. A crisis on infant Earths is what he decided to grant, but her children were failures incapable.